If I had 1 Great British pound for every time I was asked, why do you not have a car? Why do you not drive? Why do you still cash up? Listen, I would easily be able to buy a 2024 plated Mercedes A1 in cash, fill it with premium petrol, and pay for insurance with only my name on it. The next person to ask me this question will be playing hide and seek with their car the next time they step outside. Anyways, whenever I'm asked questions surrounding the societal milestones that I'm expected to meet or at least be thinking about at my age, it irks my soul unfathomably. Before, why don't you just mind your business? Escapes my lips in the rudest of fashions. God gives me the strength to push it to the roof of my mouth. Anyways, before this starts resembling the pages of my personal diary, let's get into everything in and around feeling left behind in society. Part 1. The what? What causes people to feel left behind? So, as the educated chocolate darling I am, I found out that in 1965, psychologist Bernice Neugarten, sorry if I said that wrong, I'm not racist, introduced the social clock theory. It suggested that individuals follow social expectations relative to time and use them to measure their success in life. I need a braver. This theory pans life as a game of snakes and ladders on a large board in isolated space. Our lives are the counters, the squares on the board are common societal milestones, and there are different dice for different cultural norms that vary across the world. The perfect game would be humbly stepping your way from 1 to 100. Because everyone's rolling loud. Not loud, but like the dice in it. I'm just clarifying in case the tree huggers get excited. Anyways, and clapping their counters on the board like dominoes, you are consciously aware of the position of other counters relative to your own. Yet you never see how they got there. It's as though everyone has blinked at the exact moment that the dice are rolled and at the exact moment at which every counter moves. Side note, if you've ever watched the Weeping Angels episode of Doctor Who, you can picture this whole scenario perfectly. Like, that's the scariest thing I've ever seen in my life. Back to the analogy, guy who was chilling on square 11 with you yesterday is on square 35 now. However, you haven't even had a chance to re-roll your dice yet. If you stay on square 11 for too long, the other counters will wonder why it hasn't been your turn yet. As time passes, it becomes your fault for not snatching the dice. If you roll big and ascend on a ladder, landing above the guy who overtook you initially, you are hit with questions, whispers and jealousy like, why was she even allowed to do that? She's acting too bad, like, she thinks she's better than us, blah, 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 blah. If I slap you, you'll feel it. Anyways, this will leave you feeling undeserving of your position. On the contrary, if you roll low and hit a snake, whether you rolled or someone accidentally rolled it for you, oh my God, English, please stop being illiterate. There will still be questions and whispers, but this time it's mixed with belittlement. As societies change, the criteria of milestones change. Old counters are wiped out, remaining counters take their place, and new counters enter the board. The cycle repeats. Considering all of this, it's easy to highlight the ways in which individuals can feel left behind. After all, we're just counters, rolling dice on a board, and there's nothing to do but talk about the game. I'm so sorry, but I snapped so hard with that. Like, I sound like Morgan Freeman. Are you dumb? Listen, I have no idea who that crazy girl who was talking before me was, but it must have been one of the voices. Anyways, on to part 2, the why. Why is it so hard to shape this feeling? The imaginary snakes and ladders game that I've spoken about thus far gets more complex. There are microcosmic mini-games on each square. Let's divide these mini-games into public life and private life. It's impossible to balance the two categories. For example, work life, a mini-game under public life, is like poker. An intensive game of skill and focus. Whoever wins, wins. Whoever loses, loses. It gets like that. However, private life is more like Uno. Its importance and competitiveness is subject to whoever is playing the game. The divided attention between all the mini-games being played simultaneously between private life and public life, as well as each game's differing intensity, makes it difficult to win in a single category of life, let alone every individual game. I really hope this analogy is making sense, because like it makes sense to me, but like, I just hope that it makes sense to other people. What I find so funny is, someone always tends to ask us about the game of life that we happen to be losing in that specific moment in time. You could be the blackjack black belt or the poker princess, because you're also the loser. All your wins get thrown out of the window. Feeling of inadequacy from that one game triumphs over any feelings of accomplishment that you gained from other games. This makes it easy for us to focus on our shortcomings in life and ignore our successes. Furthermore, even if we are doing well in many of the games in life, comparing ourselves to how others are playing in their public life can be our detriment. Sometimes they even force the scoreboard into your face. On the back of this, you can imagine how well they do in their private life also. For example, because someone's doing well in a game of Monopoly and you see them win in public, you assume that they're a wizard at all the games that they're playing in private. Whether we compare our public life to the perceived public life of others, or compare our private life to the one we imagine others to be living, my lung capacity almost couldn't say that one. But what was I saying? Feeling of behindness has the same sour intensity. Part 3, the how. How do you push through or dismiss the feeling? In terms of an answer to this question, it's more based on like the way I see the world than research, but like hear me out in it. Like I think the benefits of a long-term mindset are infinite. In the terms of like, it's common to be asked from childhood through adolescence and into adulthood, what do you want to be? What do you want to be? What do you want to be? And like, I hate this question because whilst I understand why it's asked, if we were replaced by who do you want to be, less people will follow fashion because the answer is less volatile than a career path or a family planning decision. And it's more abstract and not quantifiable. So you always have something to push towards and improve on. So is this a made-up theory? Yes. However, I do think that once you find the answer to this question, you can bend life's template towards yourself a little bit more. And like, you'll be less likely to follow others because you have your own specific template of what you want out of life. So you won't be looking to the left or looking to the right because they're not doing the same thing as you. Also, I feel like sometimes we forget that like our life is unique. Like, how are we looking left and to the right thinking, oh, I want to be that person, or like, I need to be here because this person's there. Like, do you not realize you were made in the image of God? Like, come on now. Why are you trying to be one of many when you're one of one? Like, make that make sense. Nah, I feel like if we truly had the lives that other people had, we wouldn't be happy. Like, we think we'd be happy, but we won't. That's all I wanted to say. So, on to the conclusion. If we allow society to overrule every goal we have, we will never have peace. Question, when will you get a car? Because when will you get a house? And then it's, when will you have a family? When will you retire? When you gonna die? Maybe not the last one, but the list knows no end. I got a bit into that, like, it was the voices. Anyways, I low-key see the noisiness as a disguise for people wanting to know what you're doing solely to compare their current or past decisions with yours to know whether they did it or are doing it right themselves. We all have milestones. There's no point treating the act of reaching them as a race against others because everybody has different cheat codes from the printer that their circumstances gifted to them. For some people, it's families, for others, it's money, for others, it may just be to live a peaceful life. Regardless of what they are, don't let the world mold them as if it were clay. They're yours, not theirs. Watching your own path is the best way to progress to the next square. Why compare yourself to others when you can't even compare your current reality to the one that God has in store for you? Anyways, until next Friday, Alicia, Theodore.